Denise Huskins says that when she was released on March 25th, 2015, by one of the men who had kidnapped her 2 days earlier, the last thing she was thinking about was ensuring everything she had been through sounded believable. But almost immediately after reaching safety, Huskins, then 29, started to realize that she had returned not only to a media firestorm, but to a brigade of law enforcement officials intent on proving she had pulled a real-life Gone Girl. In American Nightmare, now streaming on Netflix, Huskins and her now husband, Aaron Quinn, recount how their lives spiraled out of control after Huskins was taken from Quinn's Vallejo Khalifi home in the early morning hours of March 23, 2015. Over the next 48 hours, police went from trying to pin Huskins' disappearance on her then-boyfriend Quinn to framing Huskins herself as the perpetrator of a scheme similar to the faked abduction at the center of David Fincher's 2014 thriller, Gone Girl, which was based on Gillian Flynn's best-selling 2012 novel of the same name. The three-part docuseries from the Tinder swindler filmmakers, Felicity Morris and Bernadette Higgins, combines interviews, interrogation footage, and audio recordings to chronicle how Huskins and Quinn's story became a harrowing example of what can happen when the justice system fails the victims of a crime. The first two episodes of American Nightmare are narrated by Quinn and Huskins, respectively, with each relaying how the night of Huskins' kidnapping and the days that followed played out from their perspectives. Both parties recall being awoken in the night to a blinding light and the voice of a man alerting them to the presence of at least one intruder in Quinn's home. I remember being asleep and hearing a voice and thinking it was a dream, Huskins told ABC News. But the voice kept talking, and I just remember my eyes shot open, and I could see the walls illuminated with a white light that was flashing, and I could see a couple of red laser dots crossing the wall, and I could hear, "Wake up, this is a robbery. We're not here to hurt you." And in that moment, I just thought, oh my God, this is not a dream. The couple was bound, blindfolded, and sedated, and Huskins was taken from the home in the trunk of Quinn's car, while Quinn was left inside and told to wait for further instruction on how to deliver a ransom. He was also warned that there was a camera monitoring his movements, and if he contacted the police, the kidnappers would kill Huskins. In part 1, The Boyfriend, Quinn breaks down how he came to be considered a suspect in the case, explaining how police didn't believe his explanation of Denise's disappearance. Footage from the time Quinn spent talking with Vallejo detective Matthew. Mustard shows Mustard telling Quinn that he doesn't buy his story and suggesting that Quinn killed Huskins in a domestic violence dispute and disposed of her body. After 18 hours of police interrogation, Quinn's brother, Ethan, hired an attorney, Dan Russo, to secure his release from police custody and represent him moving forward. During the time Quinn was detained, as he had told police would happen, the kidnappers tried to contact him both by email and phone about the ransom. But police had put his phone on airplane mode. Meanwhile, as she recounts in part 2, Gone Girl, Huskins was being kept in a remote location by her kidnappers. The one man she interacted with told her that he was ex-military and part of a criminal group that included 3 other members. He also said that the intended targeting of the kidnapping was actually Quinn's ex-fiancée, Andrea Roberts, who had lived at Quinn's home until the previous September and looked somewhat similar to Huskins. Over the next 48 hours, Huskins was raped twice by her captor while he videotaped the assaults. She was eventually released 400 miles away from Vallejo, near the Huntington Beach neighborhood where she grew up, without any ransom being paid. She then made her way to her father's home, where she was let inside a neighbor's house after discovering her dad wasn't home. The same day she was freed, Vallejo police announced that her abduction appeared to be an orchestrated event and not a kidnapping, and Huskins was forced to hire her own lawyer, defense attorney Doug Rappaport.